All right, let's get into it.
All right.
What's Dude, I gotta be able to not laugh when I do
No,
this.
you can totally laugh.
All right, what's up,
Oh.
everybody?
Pew, pew.
It's Logan and James.
Mm.
BT, Be Transformed. We talk about purpose, vision, science, and
And fiction.
we do crafts sometimes. But this is the BT podcast. All day I keep it cultivated.
Bam.
And we're talking about... We are talking about momentum.
We are.
Didn't get that cue.
Mm.
It's all right.
I saw it. I just ignored it.
But yeah, this is BT.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Amen.
I really like this table I built.
Did you build it? Did you know this is the burnt look? I burnt it.
You really had to heat it.
I burnt it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
How'd you do
I
that?
just put a clear... Man, it took forever because I just used like one of those, like a butane torch, like for
Holy
soldering,
smokes. Yeah.
sweating pipes or whatever. So yeah, I mean, you're just kind of going back and forth across the grain. But yeah,
Jeez.
it's kind of fun. Kind of sexy. Nice
Yeah.
warm color.
It does. Now that you say that, I can tell.
Yeah.
Dang. I'm going
Dang.
to try that one time. I'm just going to
Oh,
pour
easy.
gas on it and let it match.
Just do it in your house.
That's the quick way. Yeah, I got that
Charcoal
burnt, I got
effect.
that burnt look on
Yeah.
it. It's,
A little too burnt.
it's a little charred. You can't sit near it, but sure does look good.
Sure does look nice.
Sure does look like you pulled it out of the ground.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, what is today? February it's the 26th, 2019.
Wow.
Man, yeah, we're flying. Flying right through. Spring will be here.
Shoot, my kids have spring break next week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah.
20 more years of winter.
Yeah, that means we won't be able to yell at the kids at the bus stop anymore for a couple days.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Break the routine a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when you got kids running by your window at 4 a.m., it's enough to get you out of bed and start yelling.
Nice. At least you're up and moving.
But yeah, when is Groundhog Day? Was that already happened?
Oh, is that because that has to do with spring? I have no idea.
When's the Leprechaun Day? That one's coming
I
up.
also have no idea. But there's like Easter candy at the store, so that must be coming up.
Yeah.
When's that, April? I don't know. March?
Yeah, that one's in
Yeah.
April.
I
That one's
don't
in
know.
April. And the 4th of July.
I know when that one is. May 2nd?
That's on the the 2nd of May.
Yeah.
Independence Day.
Feliz
And then
Campalos?
yeah.
Camplianos?
Thomas Jefferson Day is on August 34th.
Love that day.
Yeah.
It's the day after your birthday.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's why I liked Thomas Jefferson so much as a historical figure.
Felt like you were kin, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Shared such a close date.
yeah.
Birth.
Do you have any big end of winter plans?
End of winter plans, like an end of winter blowout.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh, well, I'm going to Colorado.
Nice.
Yeah.
For
Next week.
hiking?
No, my mom's birthday.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
It's going to be nice out there, I bet.
Yeah, they go back and forth between cold and warm.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Real nice.
Oh, that's real nice, Clark.
Out where the mountains are at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't have any big plans.
Maybe we should go do something. Well, you know,
I just gotta cut all my
do.
snow pants into shorts for the spring.
You gotta
That's
unsew
it.
the seams that you sewed up for the winter.
Right. Yeah, the dual purpose is starting to get a little. It's a little technical.
It is a little technical.
Yeah, I gotta unsew all my pants and then, yeah, probably just plant something or, you know,
one stalk of corn or something in a pot.
lawn mow something. I feel like I need to mow something. It's been like a couple of years since I've
Love it.
actually mowed.
I got
Well,
plenty
that's what
of
happens when
grass.
you live in the industrial park. Somebody does it for you.
Yeah, or there just is none. Or maybe you do have some. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
some.
there's a backyard, but
Oh, field.
no, it's
Play football,
yeah, you could. Good.
soccer.
But yeah, maybe we need to plan something. We
Probably,
obviously-
I mean-
obviously forgot that riverboat
The
River
riverboat
raft.
cruise.
excursion last year.
Right.
I think we were gonna do that, and then we
Didn't.
just kept saying we were gonna do it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think at one point we thought we did it.
We were like, no, I'm pretty sure we did it. We
and
kept
then-
talking about
but
it.
now seeing
just didn't do
clearly,
it.
we obviously didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to hit.
But yeah, that'll be
the
coming up.
moment.
Maybe our
That will be
listeners will
coming
want to
Maybe we'll
catch
have
a
a
video of that.
boat extravaganza. Come on out there
Yeah.
with your unlicensed boat with no life jackets. And
How many people could we get in that raft?
I'm pretty sure we're pretty close to maxing it
Yeah.
out.
Me, you, and Kyle.
Yeah,
we had
we-
some
we
water
were-
flowing over the edges, I feel like.
I don't know. That baby held up through the rapids.
All I remember was falling into Kyle's lap one time.
When he was standing up, somebody was standing up,
Yeah.
and I shook the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I remember was just praying that Kyle wasn't the water, and that it was actually Kyle that I was falling into.
Yeah.
No, that was hilarious. Man, we got to do that again. We got to film that.
Yeah. That was fun. Do our podcast out there.
Yeah, do you think we could get the electronics out there?
No. Not at all.
Okay,
No.
well. All my hopes are blown then.
Put all our microphones in
We could
Ziploc bags.
we
Fill,
could
fill them full of air so they float.
Trash bags. We could still film it though, right?
Yeah. We could, but yeah, we could.
We could hire a film crew.
Whoa,
That'd be
get a
hilarious.
drone. Get a drone
That'd
that
be hilarious.
just follows you.
How deep is that river? If you fell into it, how deep would it be?
I don't know. We'd have to get a fish finder or a depth finder
Or just a rope.
or a rope or a stick.
Yeah. Just wondering in case.
But you know,
we
we went out there though, one of these cold days to Weir Rapids.
this winter.
Yeah, where like the ice had all piled up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like you're
I've seen
like,
that.
yeah, it's
That
crazy.
is weird.
It's super weird, and we went
470
walking on it
Really?
a little bit. You got to be careful, but
Is there water underneath, or is it just on
yeah,
land?
somewhere. But there were so many stacks of layers of ice
Wow.
that yeah, it's kind of crazy. The ice
Wow.
pack or whatever they call it.
Huh.
The other thing that's really fun was we went to Sidecut, and it was the river had overflown, or there's water everywhere, which then
Yeah.
froze. So it's just
That's
big
what I
ice
saw.
everything. That was fun because you
Just
just
like a
kinda
whole
slide
field
around.
with it looked like a ice wasteland. Like there
Yeah.
was so much ice piled up and logs and trash and all that stuff.
Sure.
If you're driving on 475, you can see it.
Mm.
It looks like a big.
Oh, in
Winter
the
wonderland.
over by the river.
Yeah, but it's like it's not in the like it covered this whole field with like
Oh,
probably
yeah,
I
sure.
don't know. It looks like mountains of ice in this whole
Mm.
place.
Yeah, it's pretty
Logs, made huge logs,
wild. Yeah.
trash. Yeah, it's kind of a natural wonder. One of the natural wonders of the world. How that does that.
Yeah. Number 35.
Well,
maybe on the
yeah,
list.
I think so. I think it was 35 or 36. National Geographic came down, and they were.
It's almost as exhilarating as the Antarctic, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what they were. That's what they were.
That's
filming.
what they're
They were looking for maybe if there was some Arctic wildlife down there, just because of how closely it resembled Antarctica.
Yeah, with penguins.
Yeah, I know the Weather Channel came down one time, National Geographic, And
the Weather Channel.
I got interviewed. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Were you fishing? Were you standing in the water?
Yeah. No. It turned out.
Ice.
It turns out I was actually fishing on land. There was so much ice that.
There was no water.
Yeah. They came up to me
You
and
dug a
they're
hole?
like, "What are you drilling for?" And it's like trying to ice fish. What are you guys doing? And then they're like, "Yeah, you're in the middle of a field."
Oh man, hate it when that
Yeah.
happens. Did you get
That's
your,
when
your ice shanty all built? It was like you can get those tents.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like just a couple sticks that I made a teepee out of.
Nice.
And then, yeah, that's when I asked them can you gray my face out and use one of those voice changers for it?
You blur my face out.
So, yeah, they couldn't do that, though.
Oh, no. Your name, social security number, address was all on there.
Yeah, so if anybody saw that interview, it wasn't me, but yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, but yeah, the National Geographic came down, Weather Channel came down. I'm pretty sure Discovery Channel was at
What
some
about,
point.
did Nickelodeon come down maybe?
They
after
were
a
probably
while?
filming something in
Disney
Maumee
Channel?
at the time. So
Mm.
you just never know.
You
When you're in the
never
right
know.
spot at the wrong time at the
Oh.
right time.
The
You never know
wrong
what's
spot at
gonna
the wrong
happen.
time. Yeah.
But yeah,
It's amazing.
I don't know. Have you seen any other worldly wonders this winter? I know we had a major ice storm.
No. Oh, like when it rained or whatever.
Yeah, it was like a rain ice.
Those are fun because it's like everything, like all the trees are like white with
Right.
ice on them. That's always beautiful.
Yeah.
You see those pictures. I don't know if you've ever seen those pictures where that's like someplace near the ocean where
Oh
where
yeah.
it's like you
I've
get
seen
these
that.
cars with like thick ice on it, and it's like they're like streaked across the back. It's like pointed. The ice is pointing but sideways because it's so windy.
I've seen the ice like creep. Like the ice is creeping out of the ocean. It's like the water's moving with ice in it, and it comes up on these coastal places.
Oh.
I have seen that on the Discovery Channel or the Weather Channel
Or
or
Nickelodeon.
National Geographic. I don't know which one it was, but I have seen it. It's one of the 7 wonders. And
Yeah.
one of the 8th wonders is
Yeah.
when you're driving on an icy road and you stop, you hit the brakes,
But your car doesn't.
and somehow your car speeds up. That's one of the wonders I learned.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That your car can actually do a 180, and you can go just as fast in reverse when you're sliding on ice as you can going forward.
You know, it's interesting because I think they call
Ice
that
does wondrous
they
things.
call that momentum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they do.
which is what we were going to talk about a little bit today.
Which is science, right?
It
Physics.
is. So I thought you could take this on with all of your extensive
Yeah.
research
Should I
and
show
doctrines.
the viewers that I have a
your
certification
library card.
for science?
Yeah, I think so. Do you have it on you?
You know, I left my wallet at. I think I left it at
Circle
Aldi one
K?
time, so I
One
got it back. But so yeah, right now I don't have any licenses on me. Actually, I'm pretty much
Licenseless.
yeah, shouldn't even be driving. But
on ice backwards.
yeah, jeez, you need a separate license to be able to drive in the wintertime. I feel like you should have it. I wouldn't have one if they did have to do that.
Oh man.
But yeah, momentum.
Momentum. Yeah. What do you know about momentum?
That was the guy
Who invented it?
Johnny Appleseed. When that apple fell on him, I think that was he started to figure out the laws of momentum. Maybe not. Maybe that was Thomas Jefferson.
Who was the guy with the big blue bull? Lumberjack.
The Blue Bull?
Yeah, he had a blue bull. Johnny Apperjack? No. Who's
Yeah,
the
I think it was
lumberjack?
Johnny Apperjack.
Good old Johnny Apperjack. Oh man,
Johnny Appleseed
10,
was the one.
10 points if you can remember. Write in the comments who that was.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Mail in your answers to
www.
I was talking hard copy.
Oh,
Just put them in the PO box for us at the post office.
oh my gosh.
But yeah, I thought Johnny Appleseed was the boy. Or no, that was Gravity.
That
Or was
sounds
he?
like
Does he just
gravity.
invent the apple? I don't even know.
I'm not sure. He invented the apple. Oh my
I think
God.
it was. Yeah, I think it was him.
Nice. But yeah, momentum in life. Yeah. How do you get it? Why do you want it? What do you do with it?
So is momentum where like where something starts to move and it gains motion, it gains energy, it gains force.
It's the strength and force that's generated through movement.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That is straight out of a science book.
Yeah, or the dictionary.
Okay.
But yeah, which could be a science book, I suppose. But yeah, so the strength and force that's generated through movement. And so, yeah, I mean, I recently put out a video about this, but talking about like 3 ways to generate momentum in life. And so the first step of generating momentum is you got to break inertia.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know what inertia is?
It's not an ice cream flavor, is it?
I think it's when they put sprinkles on your ice cream. Oh man, this definition is nuts.
So that's let me see if I can guess this.
Have it to me.
This is like when you're driving in the car and you're going on an exit ramp.
Okay.
And you're going this way.
Whoa.
But the car's going the opposite way.
No.
Okay.
But that sounds like something though.
Yeah, it sounds like
it's probably still momentum.
It sounds like you're probably
because
on the
you're
wrong
going
side
in
of the
one
road.
direction. Yeah. The Blue Ox.
Babe.
It's called. Well, who's the guy? Paul Lumber. Ugh.
Man, Lumber Apperjacks, I think this is.
You Apperjack. Yeah. Yeah. So inertia is the tendency to do nothing and to remain unchanged.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't know they had a word for doing the tendency to do nothing. Oh my God.
Man, I've been stuck in inertia for some time.
It's nuts. The tendency to do nothing or to remain unchanged.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tendency to do nothing and remain
and to remain unchanged. Like you don't want to change. You don't want to move.
That's inertia.
That's inertia.
Wow.
So the first step in gaining momentum is you got to bust through some inertia. You got to find a good enough reason to move.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Extremely interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, some ideas on that is just you need an idea that's bigger than your circumstance. You need an idea that's bigger than your situation. That's bigger than where you are and where you've been. You need a reason exciting enough to get you to get up and start moving and working towards that direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So momentum is how you break that inertia. Because once you start moving, you start gaining energy.
Yeah.
Just by the kinetics of it. And then you start gaining momentum.
Yeah. Which is a strength and force that something has while it's moving. And as your speed increases over time, you gain even more strength and force.
It's probably as time goes on, speed increases and energy increases, it's harder to be stopped probably at that point, like a train.
Yeah.
Like a train that's just barely starting to move, it can probably hit the brakes real quick and stop in a couple feet. But once that baby gets going, 70 miles an hour,
right,
it takes 60 miles to stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true, because
like even if some major obstacle got in the way of that train,
right,
there's so much momentum in that it would probably just go through it. So even maybe I guess what I'm trying to say is like as you keep moving, gaining momentum, the things that try to stop you start breaking away even easier as you gain more force, more momentum.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Just
by train physics.
Certified. Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. Because I mean, the more you go, the more you learn, the more you grow. It's like the more you're able to kind of recognize cycles, right? Where it's like maybe there was a time in my life where I would have run into an obstacle and I would have been deterred, like I would have been detoured, or I would have went back to inertia.
Yep.
But it's like now it's like I've come to a point that it's like, we talked about this last year, but it's like, we got out of the boat, we were like in the boat and we're like, freak, man, It's time.
Yeah.
It's time to get out on the water
Yeah.
and leave that junk behind.
Yeah.
And so it's like you get to a point where it's like, even if you got a day or a couple days where your mind and your body are going like in different directions, and if you got the conflict of life, the fogginess of like weird emotion and whatever, it's like there's no quitting or giving up just because it gets confusing and maybe frustrating for a moment in time. It's like, I know that no matter what, I would always end up back on track where I am right now. So if I know that if I am just going to keep going, like, because there would have been a time in my life where I would embrace those emotions and I would hang out in them for like days, and I'd get stuck in the negative downward spiral and in the suck and whatever. And I would just marinate there. Well, eventually I would break out of that and just get back into life. But over time, I recognized that, hey, every time I go into this downward spiral, the end product is that I just get over it. So because I began to recognize that, I was like, oh man, I wonder if you could close that gap to the time where you have that emotion and to the time you get over it. Like, why do you don't have to go into this long period of suck? Because you're just going to end up getting over it. So why not just get over it?
Right.
And it's like, even now, it's like when I feel like even the last couple of days where my mind's been a little bit wonky, it's like, I'm just going to keep moving. I don't care what I feel like. I don't care that I don't care that it's a little foggy. I'm just going to keep moving. Like don't go back to inertia. Like, don't get distracted. Don't be deceived. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Like a train.
Like a train.
Even if it's foggy.
Chugga. Well, yeah, it's like, if you ever been in an airplane, when it's raining and you're on the ground and then you take off.
The airplane's on the ground.
Yeah. Have you ever been in an airplane?
Yeah, I have.
Nice.
Long time ago. Yesterday.
Yeah. Last week. Yeah, but it's raining on the ground. It's all dark clouds and whatever.
Yep.
You get up off the ground, into the rain, into the clouds, and then all of a sudden you pop up and it's sunny. It's clear skies. Like, because you rose above this cloud cover.
Sure.
Well, it's like, it's that concept where it's like, even if your mind gets cloudy for a moment, like, don't stop moving. Like, don't just quit because your emotional state got confused, got jacked up, got broke down. Don't quit, right? Just keep moving, because it's like you're in that plane and you're in the fog and you're in the clouds. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden, bam, there's the sun, there's the blue skies. And it's like, but when you were down on the ground, dude, all you could see was this cloud. You're in the rain, but you shot out through it.
But like a plane or a train or an automobile,
those aren't pillows.
You got to have a destination, right?
You got to have a destination.
Or you'll never take off.
You got to be moving somewhere. Yeah.
So if you're wondering why you're stuck in the rainstorm in the runway,
because you're not moving. Man.
You haven't set a course. You haven't set a locked in a destination.
Or you have the course, but it hasn't dawned on you that
it's okay to take off.
Yeah.
Even in the rainstorm.
Yeah. Because there's this concept of like waiting for permission when you've already been commissioned.
Yeah.
Like, so being commissioned is when you've been given the duties, you've been given the responsibility and the abilities to get into them. But then there's like the mindset of inertia where we're still kind of like sitting around waiting for somebody to give us the golden scepter, or like you're waiting for something to materialize or something like that. But it's like, sometimes you already know what you should do and you should just get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or just start moving. But it's like, don't wait around for permission when you've already been commissioned to go there for. Use your gifts, serve people, make a difference. Like, just get up and go do something. And this is what we were talking about before we got on, which is just like, man, we need to do something. We need to get out there. We need to find some people and see how we can be of some service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. An opportunity came knocking.
Yeah. Or come and make an opportunity.
Right.
go knock on somebody else's opportunities.
Right.
Right. Or just where need some help or need some whatever. Or what you got could be exactly what they need. But it's like, you just got to move. You just got to take the action.
Yeah, and believe it's okay to get to the destination. Like that.
Yeah.
If that destination looks good in your mind, it's okay that God would have that destination be something good. I think I've heard a lot of people that talk about there's just such a misconception of the realignment with God that it's like the things that they want to go do or the destination they want to reach is actually something bad. And I used to believe that.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think to take off, you have to believe that your destination's good. Depending on what it is, if you want to blow up a planet, and maybe
rethink that.
Maybe, yeah, the laser.
Talk to somebody first.
But yeah, if your destination's good, believe that it's good, and believe that you're aligned with God, and that would be good, and that His heart can actually match up and align with your heart, and that you can go do the things you want to do, or go reach the destination you want to reach. I think I don't know. From what I've heard, that's why a lot of people are still on the runway, is they don't have that belief system to where they believe that destination's good, or it might be too good.
Yeah.
They never take off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people on the plane that are depending on them to get to that place, but they never go.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few of these stories, and they all make me want to cry. And sometimes they do make me cry.
Sure.
But yeah, there is this old couple. We'll get into the story. This old couple, elderly-ish, whatever, retired, never had too much money, but just nice old couple. They had somehow won these 2 tickets to get on this cruise. And so super pumped, never traveled before, right? Like they had to figure out how to get some luggage and didn't know, what to pack, but they packed a bunch of crackers and whatnot to, prepare for their trip and their journey. And so they, super excited, get to the cruise ship, get in line, get up on board, get into their room, and they're just pumped because they've never traveled before, right? They've never had much money. They just, whatever, but they were just so excited to be there on the ship together. And, so they got in their room, they unpacked, and they just kind of hung out, just looking at each other, just super happy, just like, I can't believe we're here. This is so amazing, right? They got hungry, so they cracked open some crackers, and they'd hear the people in the hallway, laughing, and they'd crack open the door and look out, and then people are nicely dressed and all walking around, and, they look at everybody and they smile. They're just so happy to see everybody. And then they shut the door and go back in their room and eat some more crackers, watch some TV, and just like, oh, I'm so excited we're here. Well, this is going on for some time, right? And eventually the captain looks at his first mate and says, hey, have you seen the couple that won those free tickets? He's like, no, I haven't seen them at all. And so they don't think too much about it. Go on, and the couple's still doing their thing every day. They pop open the door, look at the people walking by. They got a window in their room, and they look out at the ocean. They're just so excited to be there. And so it's coming time. It's the last day of the cruise, and the first mate and the captain start talking again. Like, man, have you seen those people who won the free tickets? And he's like, no. He's like, they were old. I was like, hopefully they're not like dead. Like you should go check. You should go check their room. So the guy goes, knocks on the door, and finds these 2 older people. Open up the door. They're super happy. Like, oh man. And he's like, hey, you guys are the ones who won the ticket. Like, yeah, thank you so much. It was so amazing being here. He looks on the floor, and there's these cracker wrappers everywhere. And he's just kind of looking at these people, and they're, oh, we're just so excited to be here. This is just so great. And he's like, have you guys been out of your room? They're like, no. They're like, you haven't, you didn't go to like the food, like the cafeterias. You didn't see any of the shows. He's like, oh no, we didn't have any money for that. He said, oh, can I see your tickets? And they said, yeah. And so he's like, did you read what it said on the ticket? And he's like, those tickets gave you access to everything on the ship, to the food, to the entertainment, to all these things.
Wow.
And these people are sitting in this room eating crackers, watching everybody else live life because they think they don't have access to everything that they have access to. Wow. And that's what keeps people on the tarmac. That's what keeps people
Yeah.
at the train station.
Yeah.
Is I don't have access. I haven't done enough. I'm not
Right.
good enough.
Right. Which would be what, which that it makes sense. That's what an enemy would want you to believe.
Sure.
Like if there's anything that Satan would want you to believe, it's that you're not good and that you don't have access to anything. Like that's obviously, I mean, looking from the outside in, that's an obvious deception that I think it's easy to get deceived by, though.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like, so let's just take that, right? So let's just say we can get just super high in the sky and we can just see just a ton of things, right? You just get high enough perspective where it's just like you can see what's actually going on, because sometimes you're so close to the situation that you don't have a clear enough perspective of what's happening.
Yeah.
But so you take this perspective, right? So let's just say, right, in this scenario that we're trains and we're planes, right? So your train and your plane, it's loaded up with all your gifts, all your abilities, all this potential, right, to make epic amounts of change. And there's people all over the place that you have access to get to who need what it is that you have. But you're so stuck on the tarmac thinking that you don't have anything to give when you're fully loaded. Your train's packed up, but you're like, man, I don't think I'm worth it. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think this is what God has for me. I don't think, this or that. No, you're on the runway so that you could take off. You're on the train track so you could follow the rails. It's like you're packed, loaded up with the glory of God. But like you're talking about, deception, right? This ignorance, this lack of knowledge of what God's will is keeps you from moving because you're so afraid, right? Like, I don't have enough money, so I'm not even going to go out and explore what the options are, right? And man, shoot, I can relate to that. Just too scared, or it's just a little uncomfortable, and so you're just so used to comfort that you wouldn't break even just to walk outside the door. I could totally relate to that. You get in the mindset of being stuck in there a couple of days, like you're used to it. You become afraid of even trying to walk out that door.
Yeah.
But it's like when you believe the deception that you hold no value, that you have nothing to offer, dude, you're not going to go anywhere. But all the while, there are people who need the supplies that you have. I mean, Paul talks about how like God gave each one of us grace, like to distribute to the peoples. And it's just like this idea of you've been given authority, you've been given duties and responsibilities, and you've been given the surplus for the explicit purpose of handing it out to other people. So like you have everything you need to give to other people. And it's like people need that. And so it's like if you're sitting on the tarmac, everybody, including you, is wasting away. So from a perspective of deception, right, that's absolutely, even though you hold all the power, right, if I can convince you that you can't fly, that you're not even a plane, if I can convince you of that, then you'll act like just a big piece of steel.
Yeah. Which is what an enemy would want.
Right.
Which is what an opposition would want to God's mission, to your vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it could, so I was thinking that it could be a real temptation to just sit there though too, to just be on the runway. And there was another thought I had, but I can't remember it. But it's a real temptation to sit and in comfort, just in the seat on the runway, not going anywhere, and eating Doritos or whatever. I think that's an extremely, because like what you were saying with being secure and being comfortable, the longer you sit on the runway, it seems like the more you can kind of slip into that comfort and that deception of, the more comfortable you get, the more deceived you get, the more you talk yourself into not going, and then you never take off or whatever. But yeah, it can be a real temptation to just sit on the runway or at the train station.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's good. So that was my other thought, was that if you decide to take off, it's that the temptation is to sit on the runway and be comfortable and be secure. But if you somehow break out of that and decide to take off, you have to realize that now it's going to take a responsibility. Like you have to work the controls of the plane now. Like it's not going to be just sitting on the runway eating Doritos anymore. It's now you have to operate this plane, and you have to navigate, and you have to keep the engines running, and you have to not hit anything, and all that stuff takes responsibility, and it takes accountability. You have to show up every day to fly and navigate and do all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's why it's a temptation, is because taking off will actually take action from you. It'll take effort from you. It'll take responsibility, and that can be scary, and that can tempt you to stay on the runway, even when it's sunny out.
Even when it's sunny out. Yeah. That's huge, because I mean that's that concept where it's like sometimes your inner world can suck. Like, and that's what we're talking about, like where you're just kind of in the fog. But it's like, but life, there's nothing wrong with life. Like everything is great. But it's like it's the stagnant, it's the inertia mindset that it's like it brings this dissatisfaction. Like but then you begin to have this war where it's like, okay, I want to take action, but then I don't know what to do. But the problem is because we've been sitting so long, we're always overlooking what we should already have been doing. And so because of that, when you don't take action, and whatever, this is a learning process, but when you know what to do and then you don't take action, this is when confusion comes. Because then you're like, you're dissatisfied. You're like, why am I dissatisfied? Well, because I already knew what I should have been doing, but I'm not doing it. And so then fear grows, because the more and more time you don't do it, the more and more kind of fear incurs. But all you have to do is break inertia. All you have to do is move. But I was even just thinking like this concept of like, all right, you're on the tarmac, you want to move, but you're scared because it's going to take you into the unknown. Yeah. It's uncharted territory. You're like, dude, what if I die? What if, or what if I go and the tower says, hey, it's not your turn. Like, I'm going to go back and cry in my hole and go back to inertia. Right. It's like, there's just this reality of the unknown. It's like, do I have the strength to do I whatever? But it's just like, dude, you will never know if we never go. But this is where it's like, I think you buddy up. Yeah. But like for reals. I mean, just like we were talking, you're like, here's an idea. I'm like, done. Let's go do it. Yeah. Like instead of coming up with an excuse, which was a thought I had, which was coming up with an excuse to not take action. Because that's like the default. It's like, no, that's uncomfortable. Like that's super uncomfortable. No, let's just go do it. Like just like having a buddy, like can make all the difference. Yeah. Having somebody who's like, I'm willing to go. Let's just go. Let's go. Because together, it's like you got a swim buddy. It's just like you got somebody to. Yeah. There's power. Sure. In a team. Right. There's real energy that's created. Right. That allows you then to create momentum.
Right. If other people are starting to get on the runway and get ready to take off, they can help me or help you or whoever start to be like, okay. Yeah. I think you have to be so dissatisfied with the inertia and sitting there to start making a conscious choice to start moving. Maybe.
Yeah. That and or it's like you need a picture of like, where could you go? Where could you fly? Where could this train take you? But it's like sometimes it's so hard to see that. Yeah. But it's like if you would just dare to move, which I mean, I got to be honest, I'm just talking to myself right here. It's like if you just would dare to just start rolling, dude, just start rolling. Just at the very, just start rolling. Just start rolling. Just the controller. Rolling. Just be like, I'm not gonna stop, right? I can't go in reverse. I'm inching. Oh, do a little bit. Close your eyes. Turn it up. Go. Just do. Go.
You almost break inertia. You have to almost rather risk crashing and burning than sitting there and just not ever doing anything.
Man, that's true. That's true.
So you weigh the cost, and it's like, well, yeah, I could crash and burn, but.
And it's like, but that's sometimes the only cost you check. Yeah. Like you don't think about the potential of greatness or goodness. You think about the potential of like, no, they're just going to say no. And then I'm going to still be right where I am. Yeah. Like I'm talking about myself. Like,
no, I've experienced that too.
Yeah. But it's like, no, it's like sometimes it's so hard to see. Like you can be in a position where it's so hard to see the goodness it's just around the river bend. Yeah. All right, Pocahontas, like it's like it's so close, right? It's like you're in the plane, it's raining, it's in the clouds. It's so freaking close. If you knew how close you were, dude, you would have got up ages ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. If you knew how close you were. Because there's a reality, right, where your dreams are, you got this vision and it's far away. But then at the same point, it's not as far as you think, or at least like the starting of it. It's like sometimes you think, oh, it's so far away. Well, then I'm going to procrastinate because it doesn't really matter. It's so in the future that I don't really need to do anything. Right.
It could be right next door, right down the sidewalk. But yeah, so what I was thinking was you never want to get to the end of your life, of your time, and then have your eyes opened up, and then you see everything that's back in the plane, or that's back on all the cars that were on the drain, and then all the stuff you had. That's one of my fears.
You could already do that. Ugh, don't. But
yeah. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that and just be like, oh crap.
No, but see, this is what will happen for some people. Nobody listening, but for some people, like when Jesus returns, right? It says every knee will bow and every tongue will confess, right? At that moment, it's the first time you see God in reals, right? And you're like, holy freak. Look, for some people, man, that day is going to come like a thief. But for some people who know him, that day is not going to come like a thief. And the Bible talks about that. But it's like this concept where there's going to be people who be like, you're not going to recognize him. You're not going to recognize Jesus. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, how come nobody told me this is who he was?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be one of those people. If you have the revelation, then it's too late.
That's a bad day.
That's a bad day because the counts are settled immediately.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want that to be the day that you're like, holy freak, I didn't realize everything was so close.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like to not have that happen is to just start rolling. Just start moving. Run into something. Run into somebody.
Even if you're not extremely clear on what the destination is, I think when you start moving, it's like then you hear a voice over the radio start coming in and be like, hey, turn left.
Yeah.
Or hey, 60 nautical miles to the west is where you need to start traveling.
Yeah. Yes. Amen. Let that be. Let that be.
Like the person in the thing, the tower isn't gonna have any reason to radio to you if you're just sitting there, right?
Got no flight plan. Yeah.
If you're just sitting there, probably the only thing they might say is, "Hey,
are you ready? Space. Yeah,
are you ready?"
And this is it. Hear it. This is over the loudspeaker. Are you ready?
Literally,
Shoot.
This is coming through the airwaves.
This is.
Of your
I'm
radio.
ready. Freak. Let's go. Let's do it. Buddy up. And get the freaking moving.
We're taking off. So
we're going.
If you're
come
out
with
there,
us. Yeah. Let's do it.
We're moving on the runway.
I'm serious. We're moving. Look, break. If you got a group, if you got a church, if you got something, you want us to come out, dude, invite us out. We're coming. We're coming. We're coming to a place near you. We're going to bring the glory of God with us. If you got some needs, if you need some help, get in contact with us because we are on the roll.
Raw.
Ripe, and rolling like Johnny Appleseed.
But yeah, everything. Look over the past year. Everything that I'd say. I'd say we're. I'd say I definitely can see some people that maybe are stuck. I was stuck.
Yeah.
I think it's easy when you're stuck to see it, to not be able to see other people that are stuck and see that they're stuck. But if you start moving, I think then you can start seeing like, whoa, they're not going anywhere. Maybe I need to tell them something, say something.
Yeah.
You can't differentiate if everyone's just at a standstill.
Are we not moving?
That's why there's a lot of confusion because everyone thinks they have an answer as to why nobody's moving or why nobody should move, and that can just create a lot of deception and confusion too.
Yeah.
But until somebody starts going and looking back, and then it's like, you're not going to explode if you start inching on the runway.
You might explode if.
And then because then all the deception and confusion has to ultimately is what do I want to say? It starts to lose its hold. It starts to lose its credibility because someone's moving.
Right.
That means we can do it.
Yeah, like an experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
Breaking the credibility of the lies, the deception. Right,
because it's got to count for itself. And then against truth, it cannot stand.
Yeah, right. It ultimately has to fall. and say I was lying.
You look at the two and there's no contest.
Yeah.
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 There's like, oh, that thing's bloody, decomposing, and full of death. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's where
That's what I've been listening to this whole
That's
time.
what I've been inhaling. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was the glory. That's why it sucked. Got it. Check. Serious. Yeah. Some kind of experience.
Yep.
It's kind of awakening. Like a taste. You taste it. And you're like, you get this whiff and you're like, freak, there's something more to life. You get this whiff and you're like, freak. But then you're like, what do I do? Who's getting into it? Like, where do I go? Where do I get the information? Like, how do I get the flight plan? Dude, we hold the flight plans.
Right here.
It's like, yeah, freak, get up. Let's do something. Let's create some motion in the ocean.
Call somebody.
Yeah. Do something.
Write something. Read something.
And
Think about something.
Now go tell it to somebody else. Tell them what you learned. Tell them what you're thinking about. Start a chain reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. Get out of the what do they call that? What do they call the little restroom on the plane?
The porta potty, the lavatory.
Yeah. Get out of the lavatory.
Get out of the lavatory.
Open the shades on the
Shoop.
window, the main windows. Turn the key.
And get moving.
Let it warm up.
Don't even let it warm. It's warm. It's
Yeah.
ready. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Amen. Just start moving.
Yeah. It never has to be like crash and burn either.
No.
It never has to be that way.
Who cares if you bump into something?
Yeah.
You bumped into something. You had an experience. Good job.
Yeah.
Good
Right.
job.
I know now not to fly over there.
Yeah. Who cares? Just keep going. Grind it. Run into it. Just go do it.
100
See if you
miles
can
an
do
hour.
it. See what happens.
Yeah.
See if you can overcome it. Just
That's what my dad always used to say. He always said, if you're going to make a mistake, just do it 100 miles an hour. Keep it rocking.
keep it right. That's because you get the momentum.
Yeah.
Go blow right through it and just keep going.
Yeah.
Momentum.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You may never make a mistake just sitting there, but at the end, you could realize all your time was
That
a
was a
mistake.
mistake. You're right.
Yeah.
That's like that concept of fear of failure where it's like you're so afraid to move, but then you find out at the end, oh crap, that was the failure. Is that I never moved.
That was the major failure. Yeah.
Yeah. So move.
Yeah.
Yeah. So step one in gaining momentum in life is to break inertia. That's just to move, roll, go somewhere, do something, get out of the house, stop playing video games, whatever. Just get out, get up, move, get in contact with another human being
Yeah.
who's moving.
Call us.
Yeah. 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 So then step two, as you start moving, is ditch unnecessary friction. Stuff that slows you down.
Another science.
Another sciencey word. Yeah. Friction.
Straight out of Webster's. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the definition is, but
No, it sounds right.
Total
Something
contact.
Something that slows you down.
yeah. Well, you just think about like the mindset of inertia, right?
Yeah.
Like the fear, the doubt, the worry,
Yep.
like the second guessing,
Yeah.
like make a decision and then like be like, okay, I'm rolling. Oh, maybe I should stop.
Been there. Yep.
Or like the procrastination in making a decision to the point where you never make it and then never do anything.
Yep.
That's real.
Multiple years.
Gosh, that's real.
Yeah.
Shoot. Sometimes sometimes that's where it's like being honest with yourself and even being honest with somebody else, which I got to be honest. If I'm honest, like there's some things that I recognize and I'm okay with admitting like, oh man, like this is what I'm growing in or whatever. But then there's some things that I think are so close to home that like it's like I didn't realize I was struggling with it. And then now I'm like, that's like so dumb. Like why? This is the crap I talk about all the time. How could I be a little confused at where I'm going? Kind of concept.
Yeah.
But it's just, again, this concept to just keep freaking rolling. Like just keep
Yeah.
moving. You ditch the junk that creates friction, which is like the fear. It's like, well, fear. So courage, like I heard somebody say, courage is not the absence of fear. It's just the unwillingness to yield to fear. It's like it's taking action in the presence of fear, right? So it's not a matter of like whether you're not nervous or you are nervous or you got fear, you don't got fear. It just matters like, would you just keep rolling? Close your eyes if you got to, but just keep moving, you know?
Sure.
Then open them pretty quick, but just move.
Open
like,
them instantly.
Don't even take a second to like think about saying no to an opportunity. Like don't even consider it. Just say yes and let it scare the crap out of you, but just go and do it. Just say yes. Just say, without processing, without thinking, an opportunity that's in the direction you want to go. Don't procrastinate. Just say yes and get into it.
Yeah.
That's the rolling. That's the momentum. Just get into it. Just do it. Just go. Don't give yourself a moment to come up with an excuse and a reason why you should say no. Like, well, it's scared. Well, I didn't prepare. Well, I didn't know. Just if it's in your direction, just say yes.
Yeah.
And just go do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to ditch unnecessary friction because it's like that dragging of your feet, right? It becomes this anchor that as you keep going, that junk digs deeper and deeper and deeper to the point where you come back to inertia. Right? Unnecessary friction brings unnecessary fatigue, which causes you to
frustration.
Yeah.
Stress.
Unnecessary frustration,
Anxiety.
stress, the desire to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so what I was thinking was, as speed increases, does the friction decrease? Because like if you have a car that's moving at really fast, and it's harder to get slowed down by the road or the trail or whatever. If you're going really fast, if you're going really slow, it's easy to just, if you were going to coast, it's easy to stop right away.
Sure.
But if you were at that pedal to the metal and you took your foot off, you'd have so much momentum
Right.
that you would be able to keep going, even though friction was trying to oppose what you were doing. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Or like if you think about a car skidding, like a car that hits the brakes going 5 miles an hour stops real quick because of the friction of the road. But a car that's going 80 miles an hour and slams on the brakes, it keeps going because of all the momentum going against the friction.
Yeah.
The force that tries to stop it. I don't know. That's just what came to my mind.
Absolutely.
More speed.
More
Need for
speed.
speed.
Well, that's why it's like, so the faster you can make a decision.
Not
right?
saying like irrational, like don't be irrational
No.
about.
But if it's in your direction,
Yeah.
if it's in your vision, if it's in the direction you want to go, it just happens to be something new or something you didn't plan for and have like days and weeks and months to process and think about. But it's in your direction. It's in what you're called to do. And like this opportunity comes. Don't sit there thinking about it.
Yeah.
Take it.
Find out what it is.
Just get after it. Just show up. Just say yes. Just boom, put me down, sign up, whatever. Just do it and move. Because this is the only way you're going to generate momentum is by moving. And you got to get in there. So you got to ditch the friction, which friction would be, well, let me just process that for a couple of weeks. No, bull crap. When you start knowing where you're supposed to go, you're able to make these decisions faster.
Yeah.
The faster you can make these decisions and the faster you can take action to implement them, like the more speed you can take, right? The faster you get to where you want to go. Because
you know what to say no to.
Yeah.
It's not going to the, and you know what to say, what you should say yes to.
Right.
And it's just a matter of not being afraid of whatever result happens if you say yes.
Yeah. Well, go and mess up. Who cares? But you did it.
Right.
People saw you.
Right.
That's not about, don't worry about like, oh, your credibility. No, you showed up. You did something.
Right.
You had an experience. Now you have something to build off of. You got a foundation. So ditch off the friction. So first is just get moving. Just start rolling. Buddy up.
Break
And
the
just
inertia.
break inertia. Step 2 is as you go, you're creating experience. So now let's start being aware and let's start casting off unnecessary friction so that we can continue to move even faster. Right? Ditch these second guessing, these excuses, right? Man, because it'd be easy to just pile up excuses, but don't, because you want to move. So just embrace the fear. Embrace the unknown. Embrace the wildlife. I'm serious,
Yeah,
man. It's
I like
wild,
that.
but it's like it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's like as soon as you break inertia, you're like, holy crap, oh my gosh, what I'm like terrified
roller
of what's
coaster.
coming around. Yes, I'm like, oh, right. You're like, why did I get on this thing? Just keep going. Just keep going. Yeah. Yeah. So then step number 3 then is like you get some traction. You're moving. You're working on getting rid of the inertia mindset. Then it's like, okay, you're picking up some speed. All right. So now how do we keep this speed and then even over time continue to increase it? And that's preparation. Prepare. You prepare for tomorrow. You think about the steps you're going to take tomorrow today so that when you get to them, you know what steps to take. And so when you know more and more where you're going, you can take quicker action and gain even more momentum, right? You can just continue to just freaking jam and dominate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I think the big thing is just
What was number 3 again? Just
Prepare.
blanked out. Prepare. Okay.
prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's hard if you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
Because, I gave the example of like, for running a race. If I know where the finish line is and I know how to get there, then my stride's going to be long. Each step is going to be sure. It's going to be confident. I'm in eager expectation of reaching the end and of winning the prize. But if I'm unsure of where the finish line is and I'm unsure of how to get there, then my stride's going to shorten and my steps are going to slow down, right? And I'm unsure, like, is it that way? Is it that way? And so not knowing where you're going will slow your momentum. But this doesn't matter in the beginning.
Right.
Beginning's just go.
Right. So there's an order to it.
There is an order.
Go.
Just go.
Now start decreasing the friction.
Yeah.
And then prepare. Start figuring out what the destination looks like.
Right. As you continue to gain experience, you're starting to get a feel for it. You're in it. You're up in the air. You're down the track. Whatever. Then start. Okay, where are we going? What are we doing? What airport are we going to stop at? What train station are we going to go to?
Which might look like calling somebody, writing something, reading something,
right?
Asking a question, just sitting there in your room thinking about what you want to do or what you like to do, what your gifts are, what opportunities have come up that maybe you've discredited before.
Sure, but you should follow up on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's preparing. Is starting to dial in.
Yeah. It's like, all right, what am I going to do tomorrow? How am I getting closer and closer? How am I taking action?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Momentum. Go get you some.
Step 1, break inertia.
Yeah.
Step 2, decrease friction.
Cast off
friction.
Yeah. We're not decreasing nothing.
Eliminate friction.
Boom. That's better. I like that one.
Just like one of those, like if you poured melted butter on yourself and went down a slip and slide. That's eliminating friction.
There is no friction here, folks.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to shake anybody's hand or do anything after that.
But it was worth it.
Yeah, eliminate friction.
Yeah.
Pour the butter all over your body.
Yeah, and go.
Slide down the slide.
And go. Head first.
And then number 3 is prepare.
Yeah.
Dial in.
Set
the GPS coordinates.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you know where you're going, let's just say it takes 10 days to get there.
Or figure out how to figure out. So maybe, prepare is part 1 of prepare is set the coordinates, and then part 2 is figure out the best ways to get there.
Sure.
What do you have to, who do you have to talk to? What do you have to read? What do you have to call? Or,
yeah. Sure.
I mean, sometimes,
right, how do I actually
sometimes just in general, one general thing could be just making sure you're mentally and physically capable of doing whatever it is, or mentally and physically and emotionally just stable, just working on yourself, getting doing physical activities a couple times a week, studying something, getting your mental and physical pieces honed in, just help. It just helps you
start moving,
get more towards that goal. That way, it's I don't know. That's just something that might be an easy way just to start as you're figuring that out.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're doing nothing, do something, right? Like Go for a walk.
Right.
Do some
Shut
exercise.
the TV off.
Shut the TV
Get off the
off.
face.
Get
Get
off
off the
the phone.
Facebooks.
Or freaking, if you're going to have it on, then have the audio Bible cooking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, buddy up. Freaking buddy up. Somebody else is butt lazy. But don't let them drag you down.
Yeah.
If they're excess friction, ditch that junk.
Yep.
Because look, man, you got to move.
Yeah.
You got to move. You got to
Yeah.
move.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting in Colossians 1. Paul's talking about this prayer. He's talking about this prayer that he's praying for the peoples, and but it's all about the will of God. He says, like, I pray that God would fill you with the knowledge of his will through all the wisdom and understanding that the Spirit gives.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of fun because he says, I pray that God would fill you. This filling, I looked up the Greek word, and it's like something that was empty. You crammed every ounce you could in there. Like you pushed it in there, and then you got a stick and you crammed it down, and you put some
Like
more, and you
packing a
crammed. Yeah, you
suitcase.
packed that junk in.
It's like
He's-
packing a suitcase.
I pray that you would be filled, packed in to like max capacity, to exploding out your pores, the knowledge of his will, right? This will is his pleasure. It's his desire, right? What God actually wants, like what he wants. He says, may you be so full of that so that you can live a life that pleases him in every way. And then he breaks down what that looks like. So the whole point is you got to know what this, did you have something?
No.
No, you got to know what this will is. You got to be so packed. So this experience, right? This you see these people moving. You get this experience. He's packing it in, just the glory, the goodness, the epicness of who you are in him alive. And and then he talks about, okay, so that on purpose, so that you'd be so packed full, so that unto something, so that you would live a life that pleases him in every way.
Mm.
And then he gives a list of what that looks like. And it looks like bearing fruit in every good work, which is interesting because that's like rolling. It's like moving. So you're taking action and you're doing these things. You're using your gifts. You're serving other people. You're freaking doing something, right? This starts causing you to bear fruit. Then it says, grow in the knowledge of God. This is God. Just understand this, that this is God's will for our lives. And this is what a life that pleases God looks like. It's one that bears fruit in every good work, called to succeed. Grows in the knowledge of God, called to know through experience who God is. Being strengthened according to all the glorious might, so that you could have great endurance and patience. Built to withstand the long haul, right? And overflowing with thankfulness, right, to God who has qualified us in the kingdom of his Son, right? Because we've been rescued from the dominion of darkness and brought into the kingdom of the Son he loves. But it's like this whole concept is like, if you look at it, it kind of flows, right? Like bearing fruit in every good work, growing in the knowledge of God, being strengthened according to all power to have great endurance and patience, and overflowing with thankfulness. It's like this is all a process of motion. It's all in motion that this is realized. None of this is in stagnant inertia. This is all in the glory of movement, because there's nothing on earth that God created that's not moving, that's not growing, that's not becoming, right? A tree never stops growing. I mean, how tall will a tree get? I mean, as tall as it can. How many leaves will it produce? As many as it possibly can. Like it's not a tree doesn't stop to think like,
should I get taller?
Yeah, should I get taller? Should I learn more? Yes, you should. Yeah, right. It's not confused on its potential. It just lives to the fullest.
Yeah.
And that's us. The only difference between us and a tree is that we have the choice, which can kind of get confusing. But that's why knowledge comes when you start moving. You start moving in a direction. It's that momentum that generates strength and force. It's in here where you gain experience, where it gives you a reason to learn, right? It makes it necessary to learn, because you're like, oh, crap.
When you're moving.
When you're moving.
Yeah.
When you've committed to something.
You're getting into experiences.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate outcome of if you start moving, experiences come.
Yeah. And then it forces you to have to learn, because then you're like, okay, well, how can I do that better? Right? This is you being strengthened according to all might. So you have all this epic endurance and patience. This is where you grow in the knowledge of God. You continue to understand who he is and who you are, right? What does he think about these different situations? This is interesting because I was just thinking about this concept, right? Because we're called to be conformed to the image of the Son. Well, you can't become like somebody that you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
We are called, purposed by God, to be conformed into his image. This is from the Lord who is the Spirit, right? That's 2 Corinthians 3:18. So it's God's purpose that we be conformed to the image of the Son. Okay, well, you can't become like somebody that you don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, so you think about it, right? It's like, okay, well, how does he think? How does he feel in these different situations? Like, how does he handle certain situations? How does he prepare for different things? Like, what does he do? Like, how does he spend his day? Like, what does he do? Like, you get into the nitty gritties of who is he? How does he function? Like, what does he smell like? Like, it's like, it's this concept of getting to know him that you could actually become like him, which is what you're created and destined for.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's like that there's just so much glory and freedom in like this, that this is God's will for your life, that you grow in the knowledge of him. And it's only done through taking action. It's only done through movement, right? Jesus said, he says, you are my disciples if you obey my commands, right? Like if you do what I did, if you do what I say, like you get into it, because it's in this motion that you become conformed. You change the way you think. You learn how to think and function and feel and take action in the truth. It's these things that cause us to become, which is all in motion.
And in all of that, it Colossians says to be thankful, to be thankful because you have the freedom to go. You were redeemed to go do all that. You don't. There's not like some force that's gonna like, or there's not like some, I don't know, message from God that says maybe you shouldn't do that. It's just you're redeemed. You can be thankful in all of that because you were redeemed so that you could move. Am I getting that right?
Sure.
Like being thankful. He talks about being thankful.
Well, you're overflowing with this thankfulness because look, man, you're bearing fruit in every good work, which means you're moving, you're gaining these experiences, you're literally encountering God, which is causing you're growing in knowledge, right? Jesus says, if you remain in me and my words remain in you, it's that all day I keep a cultivated mentality, right? Because you think about like the process of how do you actually accomplish these things, and really, I mean, it's in this concept of all day I keep it cultivated, and then it's these things that you cultivate. You think about, meditate, marinate, that take root inside of your guts, that cause you to think and believe differently. But then you also take action based upon those things. And that's what brings maturity and skill. And so, yeah, so it's like, but look, we've been delivered from the dominion of darkness.
Which is cause for great thankfulness.
Well, yes, because death once ruled, but now Christ rules. Life rules. You are full of life. You live in life. You don't live in sin. You don't live. There is no condemnation. So it's like the more and more you get into that, the more and more it gives you opportunity to become conformed to the image. But I think that's where it's like we don't just do things, but we're doing things related to our gift on purpose. We're not trying to earn our position in God. We're working from our position, because this is where people get kind of confused, and I have been confused at this, but where you start doing all these things to earn your position in God, and this is where people get jacked up. This is where people get quote unquote burnt out. The only reason you get burnt out is because your perspective was wrong and your aim was wrong. Otherwise, man, there is no burnt out. But it's like, it's when you live in anxiety, in fear, in doubt, in worry, and I got to help this person, otherwise God's not going to love me, right? These incorrect motives set your target on something that's weak and limited and like full of lack. But we live from a place of abundance and overflowing. So from our position, we take action. There's no getting burnt out there. That's where Paul says, man, I labor and strive with all the strength that God so powerfully works in me. I'm content because I can do all these things through the strength that he gives me, right? There is no getting burnt out. If you're burnt out, your perspective is skewed, which you just, man, change the way you think, get back on track.
Yeah.
But it's all in motion. Just do something. God's for you, not against you. Because if you think you're taking action, but you're like, oh God, am I, that fear of God's going to smite you around every corner. You got to ditch that crap. Yeah.
Get some butter on you.
Get some. Yeah.
Friction.
I don't know if you could stress this enough, but thankfulness and joy, this joyful thankfulness, but the kingdom of heaven is righteousness, peace, and joy. Righteousness is your position in God, which is a legal term saying that you have right relationship with God. You've been justified, which means that you've been declared righteous, right? When God speaks, it creates all things. So when he's declared you righteous, and he being the judge declared you righteous, you're righteous, right? You're justified. So the kingdom of heaven starts with this justification. I'm made righteous. I am in right relationship and standing. The legal indebtedness that was once there is nailed to the cross and forever gone. So from that springs this place of abundance and glory and goodness, which creates this thing called joy, this thing called peace, this thing called gratefulness, and like this overflowing gratitude of what you have, this focus on the abundance, on the truth, over a circumstance or situation. All right, because people talk about being happy and happiness is fleeting, but joy is this thing that it's like it's sourced from another place. It's sourced from the kingdom of heaven. It's not sourced from the physical. It's sourced from the invisible.
Yeah.
Which is more real than the visible.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just you saying that makes it almost like if you it makes fear sound stupid, like to be afraid and to believe that you're made righteous by the King.
Yeah,
it makes fear almost sound like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
to be afraid is absolutely ridiculous.
Right. Well, because fear has to do with punishment.
Or to not think you're good enough is absolutely ridiculous. If you believe that,
it's downright disrespectful.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Because that's saying, and it's not intentional, it's just this lie we believe, but that's literally saying that what Jesus did wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
That like you're going around to the back of the courthouse and you found this freaking, I want to use all kinds of words that I'm not going to use right now, but you find this butthole in the back, right? And he starts telling you, hey man, like that paper's still good. You're still jacked up. You suck. Right. And you're hanging out in that. That's the radio station you're tuned into. That's what your emotions are feeding off of. It's causing you to think these thoughts. It's like, you're not good enough. You suck. You're not good enough. Dude, if the things you think about don't create hope, you're not thinking about the things that came from God.
Wrong station.
That's the wrong station. And that's what keep you on the tarmac. Marinating in that wrong station.
But yeah, man, if you believe that you were made righteous by the one who created everything, who's
left? Who's left? Who's left to give an accusation that matters?
Yeah,
that holds any kind of weight.
Yeah,
you got to get on board.
Start moving.
Yeah.
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 The one who has all the power in his hand and created everything calls you righteous. How can you not start moving?
Right. Yeah.
The voice is coming over the loudspeaker.
Let's get it on, my good people.
Are you ready? Yeah. Do you want it?
Do you want it? It's waiting for you. Who knows what's around the river bend?
Yeah.
But if you don't go, you will never know. But that's not us, man. We're people who move of motion, who take action, because that is everything we were created for. My good peoples, this is us. We are Be Transformed. Hit us up. If you got something, you want us to come, speak somewhere, do something with your group, get in contact with us. Until next time, peace.